You know, in some lines of work, there are risks you just can't afford to take. Today, we're going to talk about the gear that literally stands between you and a life-threatening situation. And more importantly, why getting the right training for this equipment isn't just a good idea, it's everything. Wow. Just let that sink in for a second. The biggest dangers are the ones you can't see, you can't smell, you can't taste, until it's already too late. It's a really sobering thought, and it perfectly sets the stage for what we need to cover. So let's get specific. What exactly is this invisible threat? Because these aren't just ideas on paper, they are very real dangers that people face every single day in all sorts of jobs. And we're talking about things that are more common than you might think. Things like toxic gases that can knock you out in seconds, tiny dust particles that cause permanent damage to your lungs, or just walking into an area where there literally isn't enough oxygen to breathe. These are the silent killers that demand we be prepared. And that brings us to a really, really important point. See, it's one thing to be aware that these dangers exist. It's a whole other ballgame to be truly competent in facing them. And that is the entire goal of the program we're looking at today. Look at this comparison, because it nails it. Awareness is just knowing there's a problem. Competence, that's knowing exactly what to do, second by second. It's the huge leap from textbook theory to real competence when the pressure's on. It's about going from just following a checklist to actually making smart, safe, life-saving decisions on your own. And that's exactly what this training program is all about. It is built from the ground up, not just to make you aware, but to make you truly competent. To make sure that when you're faced with one of those invisible threats, your reaction is instinctive, it's correct, and it keeps you safe. So, how do they do it? How do you build that kind of muscle memory? Well, it's not by sitting through boring lectures, I can tell you that. The philosophy is simple. You learn by doing. You master these skills by actually getting your hands on the gear and using it. And it's all laid out in a clear 2-day path. Day 1 is all about building that solid foundation. You know, understanding the hazards, the different types of equipment, and maybe most importantly, how to get a perfect life-saving seal. Then, Day 2 kicks it up a notch, diving deep into the SCBA, the self-contained breathing apparatus for those really high-risk environments. And this is how it works. It's a really smart methodology. You start by learning to spot the hazards, then you move right into hands-on workshops with the real equipment. After that, you're put into realistic simulations to see how you perform under pressure. And it all wraps up with assessments that prove you're competent. It's all about doing, not just listening. So after all that hands-on work, what's the end result? What do you walk away with? Well, you walk away with a whole new set of powerful, life-saving capabilities you can take right back to your job. I mean, just look at this. You won't just know about gear. You'll be able to look at a hazard and pick the perfect respirator for it. You will absolutely master using an SCBA, putting it on, operating it, doing all the safety checks. You'll know what to do when an alarm goes off, how to conduct a fit test to guarantee that perfect seal, and you'll have the confidence to maintain the gear that your life depends on. That is true competence. So you might be thinking, okay, this sounds serious. Who is this for? Well, the program is very clear about who really needs this level of training. Basically, if your job requires you to wear any kind of respiratory protection, this is for you. It's essential for safety officers, for supervisors who manage teams in dangerous areas, and it's absolutely critical for people who work in the toughest spots, like confined spaces or on rescue teams. If you see your job on this list, this isn't a nice to have, it's a need to have. And that really brings it all back to this final, critical question. We started by saying the hazards are invisible until they become critical. In that critical moment, when every single second matters, when it's the difference between going home safely and a tragedy, awareness just isn't gonna cut it. The only thing that will matter is if you are ready. The question is, will you be?